Day 3 of our NorCal trip. We are back at California's Great America, day 2. We planned 2 days at this park because we knew that we could one day go back to Discovery Kingdom, and also we picked our first day as a Saturday, so we wanted to have more time to like re-ride stuff, check out other stuff, do stuff. Yeah, so we woke up at our Hilton right next to the park. Woke up, looked out the window, we could see the park. So awesome. So easy. Literally woke up, rolled out of bed. I think we did move our car into the CGA parking lot just because, like, if we wanted to go take a break and chill, change, whatever, we'd have the car there. So we did move the car in there, but it was so nice staying right there. So easy. 10 out of 10 recommend. If you can stay at that Hilton, that is the way to go. So for day 2 rope drop, we already did Psycho Mouse. Did not need to do that again. So we went to Goldstriker. We rope dropped it. We got the back row and it started raining a little bit. It didn't hurt in the rain because it wasn't raining that hard. I have ridden Goldstriker in rain where like my hair was wet when I came off of the ride. The weather was still not good. It was raining, drizzling, nothing too crazy, but it was kind of raining on and off during the day, also today. And then we walked over to Railblazer. It was closed due to the rain, not surprised. Went back to Goldstriker. It was like a 10-minute wait. We did the front row this time, and in parentheses I wrote, it's a back row ride in my notes, so there you go. I'm gonna say something that I'm a little ashamed of. After our first ride on Goldstriker, I turned to Elle, and I was like, this is better than Ghost Rider. It's not better than Ghost Rider. I apologize. I cannot believe I said that out loud. And I cannot believe I'm admitting this on the internet, but I really liked Goldstriker, all right? I like the violent airtime it gives you. You know, it's like a rickety wooden coaster, but it wasn't painful per se. Like, it wasn't too much, but it's a good ride. It's a back row ride for sure. I was kind of like, front row, maybe back row. It's back row ride. At this point, it stopped raining, so we hustled and bustled over to Railblazer. It was like a 10-minute wait, back row. I do want to note the operations today, and I'll talk more about it at the end. So much better than our day on Saturday, yesterday, last video, if you will. We did that, and then we went to print our fast lanes, our single uses, went over to flight deck. Operations so much better. They were just letting us on. And then we moseyed on over to Patriot, which was running from park opening. Yesterday it wasn't, today it was. And we got the back row outside. My notes, pretty good. A little bangy, but not bad. Again, today was kind of our opportunity to re-ride things that we wanted to re-ride and maybe check out some stuff that we didn't get to do. So we were just trying to like knock out as much as possible. We were skipping, we skipped the kiddie credits because we already had them. We were just trying to marathon all the big rides pretty much. So we were doing pretty well by this point, and it's lunchtime. As I've mentioned, I have the meal plan. And as I mentioned in my last video, there is a Panda Express at this location, so that is absolutely what I had for lunch again. Yeah, I know Panda Express isn't super healthy for you, but I was on a trip and I had the meal plan and I wanted Panda Express. I love Panda Express. Got my orange chicken, refueled me for the rest of the day. Split some with Elle because, I'm a nice person. I want to make sure she's fed too. We both don't want to be miserable by the end of this, so we're trying to eat after we had our fantastic Panda Express. So then we went to Demon and we got row 10. My comment says very smooth. I know for a fact it banged my ear. I got an ear bonk in the corkscrew, but apparently I must have really liked this because that's what I wrote. Demon, row 10, totally fine. No issues, fun. Then we went over to the drop tower. This was the only experience we had on Sunday where we were kind of like unsure of the operations. And for the record, I don't want it, I'm not upset at the people working because more than likely they're just listening to what the higher ups, Mr. Six, is telling them to do, or they're not training them. I don't know, but I'm not blaming the ride ops necessarily. I always try to give the people working on the front lines the benefit of the doubt because both Elle and I have worked customer service jobs before, and we know what it's like when people are not nice to you. Drop tower, and we're waiting for it. It had 6 sides to it. The line wasn't moving very fast, but we got up to the grouper, and we could tell based on how they were counting it, there's their seats for us to go on to this next tower, but the grouper was trying to let this party of 5 go in front of us and then kind of waited for a second and then let us go. It was very odd. I think Mr. Six is just not training the California's Great America employees, because especially grouping for the most part was kind of odd, I guess. Again, not necessarily the grouper's fault. They're probably just doing what they're told. Don't be mean to them by any means. Like, we were very polite in all of our interactions with all the workers because, again, we know how it is. But, you know, all in all, we got on the drop tower. It was fun. You know, a drop tower is a drop tower. We did it. It was fine. And then we went back to Goldstriker. The lines today too, and we figured it's a Sunday today, so the lines were going to be better overall than they are on a Saturday. But the lines are so much better overall. And so we went to Goldstriker and we got a front row. Very forceful. Very forceful. Again, I feel like Ghost Rider has more gentle airtime, if you will. It's like more floater airtime, like you float up and then you float down, like you gently float down. Goldstriker like throws you up and then throws you down. I almost think I might prefer that type of airtime. That's probably why I said Goldstriker was better at first, because I think I like the airtime better, if I'm being realistic. But Ghost Rider's a better ride. Being so for real, Ghost Rider is a better ride than Goldstriker. Goldstriker's fun, but Ghost Rider's better. Maybe I'm just saying that because I love Ghost Rider, but it's true. At least for me, that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, if Goldstriker is your favorite over Ghost Rider, that is your opinion and you're entitled to it. Walked around Railblazer in the back row. Yes, it's great. It's fun. I love it. Time to marathon Railblazer. So we did like 4 times back to back. It took a couple of tries for me to get a front row ride, but I did eventually get a front row ride on Railblazer. Railblazer has smaller trains than Wonder Woman, which makes sense because it is a more compact layout. I can't imagine they can fit, 12-person trains on there. It would be kind of difficult. Again, really like Railblazer. RMC makes one heck of a ride. Rougher than I was expecting, so it was pretty good though. No complaints about Railblazer. Flight deck. Got row 5, tried to test as many seats out as we could, and it was pretty good, relatively smooth. It's a little janky, but it's fine. It's fun. Time for dinner. We went to their Grizzly Lodge, I think. It was basically like the equivalent to the Grizzly Lodge at Knott's Berry Farm, if it's called that. Dinner. We did dinner. Something to note, park closed at 6 p.m. today. Park hours were 10:30 to 6, I think, maybe 10 to 6. So we had less time than we did on Saturday. Park closed at 8 on Saturday. There's this theater thing. Mass Earth. I'm looking it up on Log Ride. I don't remember. Let's see. Mass Effect New Earth. Mass Effect New Earth. And we had kind of seen it as we were passing. And both Elle and I were like, oh, we gotta try this. I'm very curious what's in there. We had absolutely no idea what to expect. They were passing out 3D glasses. It kind of reminded me of doing Star Tours at Disneyland. We stood in our line. They like assigned us each a row with everybody else. And then the doors open and we walked in and it's like a theater setup kind of thing. We sat down in our chairs, put our stuff down. It's like, oh, you have to put yourself in this specific area. I know this is gonna be like a roller coaster channel, but I'm talking about the show because it was cool. And if you're going to California's Great America, you should do this. It had a big screen. We had the 3D glasses, but there was also a guy, like a actor, employee person. And he was like kind of leading the show, if you will, kind of like Captain Rex or what is it, C-3PO now in Star Tours? Dating myself here a little bit. But like, how C-3PO kind of like does the narration for the show or, the screen thing you're watching, and then you do the ride and then you're done. So this guy kind of like led what was going on and explained to us, and they had like a whole storyline. It has to go with a video game. I think the video game is Mass Effect New Earth. It was kind of cool, a little storyline. The seats moved around. I think at some point they like spritzed us with a little bit of water. Very cool and unexpected experience that we got that we didn't know we were gonna do, but it was really neat. Mass Effect New Earth was pretty fun. They have some cardboard cutouts of, I'm guessing, like the video game characters as you're walking out, so we took some photos with those. Back to Goldstriker. We got row 10. This was a new experience I had. I've never actually had this happen before. We started pulling out of the station and the operator stopped our train, and Elle and I looked at each other like, are we getting evacuated? Did the ride just go down? No, they just stopped us as we were leaving the train because someone had their phone out. So the ride operator gets on the mic and is like, put your phone away so we can start the train again. And so they did, and we started again. And we were kind of thinking, okay, that's the end of that. But we were wrong because this person took took their phone out again on the lift hill, and they stopped us on the lift hill and said, everybody put your hands up, keep your phones away, hands up, which gave me strong boss ladies from Dance Moms vibes. If you know, you know. And then they kind of waited a few seconds of all our hands up in the air before restarting our train. Definitely a first. I don't think either of us had been stopped on the lift hill before. PSA, keep your loose articles away. Follow the rules of the ride, if you will. Because otherwise, your train gets stopped on the lift hill, and that's not very fun. I would like to not have to evacuate if unnecessary. At this point, we were down to about 30 minutes of park time left, and I still kind of wanted to go through the shops and maybe get some souvenirs. And so I kind of looked around a little bit, and then we went over to Flight Deck. We got one more ride on it. I really liked it. Flight Deck is a great inverted coaster, a lot better than Kong. After Flight Deck, went back to the store. I got my sweatshirt and a t-shirt, and then we were pretty much out of time. It was time to leave. We needed to go back to our hotel and get lots of sleep so we could be awake and alive to drive home tomorrow. Now it is time to talk about the park itself, as well as all the other stuff that I did not include in the last video. The park itself was pretty nice, a lot nicer than I was expecting. Everything was pretty clean and well maintained. The music they had playing in there was the same music that they play in Main Street USA at Disneyland, so that was kind of funny to the both of us. But it was very nice atmosphere-wise. Couple of things to note: the Mass Effect New Earth show, very, very cool. Highly recommend that. The gondolas only go one way each, so if you want to go back, you have to wait in line to go the opposite direction. They had this store, I think it was called like Voodoo Store or something. It was actually really cool. They had some cool little props to take photos with. I didn't get any footage in there, but that was definitely worth checking out. It was kind of in between the front of the park and Flight Deck. By Goldstriker at the front of the park, they had a little museum, if you will, for the carousel. That was really cool. They kind of showed the paints they use, and they had some signage with the history. It was like a little museum. We really liked that. I would definitely check that out if you go here. They did have this fun little walkway kind of with an arch of plants. That was really cool. Photos. I was really bummed out that there were no photos on any of the rides. I do like ride photos. There were cameras at every single location pretty much for the rides, but all the booths were completely boarded up. The flashes weren't going on, like they just weren't even functioning. And that was kind of a bummer to see. I do have the Fun Picks pass, and so I was hoping to use that. Obviously, they're not making any extra money off of me, so I understand that it's maybe not financially good for them to be sending electricity to all those cameras if not that many people are buying it and if the park is shutting down. So I wish Mr. Six would reinstate the ride cameras. I don't think they're going to for the rest of this park's life, but that would be really nice if they did that again in the future. Park operations were so much better today than yesterday. It is very interesting that there appeared to be double the amount of staff members present on Sunday versus Saturday. I would have personally staffed Saturday very full. I don't know if people called off. Again, I don't really know what's going on with the higher ups, but the staffing was definitely an issue on Saturday and not so much on Sunday. Now, granted, the operations were not Disneyland level operations by any means, but they were significantly better on Sunday. Not so bad at all. Sunday's ride count. Sunday's ride count. Goldstriker, 5. Flight Deck, 4. Railblazer, 4. The Demon, 1. Patriot, 1. Drop Tower, 1. And Mass Effect New Earth, 1. Ride rankings. Number 9. Woodstock Express. We were not the intended demographic for this ride, and that's okay. It could have been worse. I've ridden worse roller coasters, but yeah, Woodstock Express is at the bottom of this list. Number 8, the Grizzly. I feel like if this had more going for it, like it was running faster with maybe different trains and a different layout and profiling, then it would be a better ride. But also, I think this was the coaster with the slowest operations. Number 7, Lucy's Krabby Cabbies. Shockingly kind of fun. Who knew? Number 6, Psycho Mouse. The only Arrow Wild Mouse coaster we've done. Pretty fun. Didn't love that we kind of got wet on it because of the seats, but again, not much you can do about that. Number 5, Patriot. You get a little bonk on Patriot. I'm pretty sure this used to be a stand-up coaster, and you can tell it was supposed to be. I think if we got to ride it with the stand-up trains, that would be different. But yeah, Patriot, Oh, I put it above Scream in my B&M rankings. I just checked. I don't know. Patriot might be the worst B&M I've done. Number 4, The Demon. I can't believe how much we liked this. Sometimes it's nice to have those low expectations because then you're pleasantly surprised. Number 3, Flight Deck. B&M Invert. Forceful. Number 2, Railblazer. Did not put Railblazer as number 1. Not because I didn't enjoy it. I loved it. An RMC is an RMC, you know? Kind of hard to go wrong. But I liked Goldstriker better. I wish they would move Railblazer to Knott's Berry Farm when the park closes. I don't think they will, but it would be cool if they did. So number 1, Goldstriker. Violent airtime. Not gentle airtime. Violent airtime. And I liked that. I like being thrown around on a roller coaster. I had fun with my friend Elle. She is, I think, the only person that can actually keep up with me at the theme parks. You know, we'll eat, we'll sit, but not for very long, and we're just marathoning stuff. I kind of figured out how to predict where people are going to be at the park within a given time, and we just go to the opposite areas and ride as much as we can. I've had days where like Elle and I rode over 25 roller coasters together, and I'm glad that I have such a good friend that was willing to make this journey with me